Hey everyone, welcome back to Rake Take Stacking. In today's video, I want to talk a little bit about a few things that you should think about and consider before starting your silver stack. And the first thing that I think is probably the most important is setting a budget, because you can get in over your head pretty quickly with stacking silver. Now, if you're just getting into silver and you're looking at what like silver spot price is, and then you look at one of those online dealer sites and you look at 1 ounce of silver, buying it, the physical bullion, and you'll notice it's not in the same ballpark of price, and though those are the premiums, that's what you're going to be paying on top of the spot price. And there's many reasons why there's premiums. Obviously, with the dealers, they have their overhead, and the premiums have been very, very high as of late. I always see those comments down below in some other videos where they're talking about the low premiums that they were paying for the majority of their stack, because a lot of stackers started like in the 90s and the 2000s. They've been doing it for decades, and man, I just dream about paying some of the premiums that I've heard some of the older stackers talking about. But unfortunately, we're living in a time of very, very high premium. So that's why I'm saying you definitely have to set a budget and stick to it, because you can get in over your head if you have cash tied up in something that you're going to be taking a loss on right away. So there are still some things that fiat currency is useful for. In today's society, you're going to be going and getting groceries, paying bills. That all still requires cash, even though it's a faulty system, inflated, all that stuff. I'm not trying to defend cash or anything like that, but unfortunately, we still live in a society where it's being used, and you still need to have it to keep up with things like groceries and bills. So you're going to want to make sure you have that all set, so that you don't need to scramble because you spent too much on your silver, and you need to sell off a good portion of your silver at a loss to make up for the cash that you don't have on hand. So the premiums make it so that you really need to be careful with your budget, so that you don't overextend yourself and need to be selling silver at a loss to cover things that you should have had cash for. So number one, I think it's the most important thing, is set a budget so that you have all the important things taken care of, and then with what's left over, you go and start your silver stack and you start picking up. And it doesn't mean that that budget is set in stone. You know what I mean? There could be certain scenarios that come up where you've finished paying off the loan that this is, or blah blah blah, you finish your mortgage, whatever it is. You can just take 3 months at a certain budget and reevaluate. And it could go the other way. You could be saying, ooh, I was kind of holding on there, white knuckling for the last couple of weeks because I was getting low on the, so just, you might say, maybe I put too much into the budget, and after 3 weeks you can scale it back a bit. As I said, not set in stone. You set what your budget is, you set what your timeline is for reevaluation, but no matter what, always be thinking about your budget, always be making sure that you have enough money to cover things so that you don't need to dip into your stack. And the funny thing is, not a lot of people would think about this, but before you start buying silver, think about what your exit plan is going to be, because a lot of people stack for a hedge against inflation. So it really wouldn't make too much sense to be stacking for decades and decades and then just sell it all for a big heaping pile of cash. You know what I mean? It's kind of defeating the purpose of all those years that you were stacking, just to go ahead and convert it back into that money that you were trying to hedge against inflating for all that time. For a lot of people, it's passing it down to their grandkids and stuff like that, or passing it down to their family. That makes sense. You're not planning on selling it at all, so that's your exit strategy. I always laugh thinking it's a pretty concrete exit strategy is death. You know what I mean? You don't plan on selling it, you plan on passing it down, so that's your exit strategy. But if you are looking to do something with the stack later on, it makes sense to maybe sell it and convert it into another hard asset. You don't want to have like a Scrooge McDuck style pool just with fiat cash in it. You know what I mean? That would, as I said, defeat the purpose. But yes, if you find you've been stacking for a while and you want to use sell a bit off and use it for something, some things would be obviously buying real estate. Real estate being a nice hard asset there, you can use that as another form of investment. You're not just taking your silver and converting it back into that fiat currency. So that would be number two. As I said, as weird as it may sound, because you haven't even bought your first ounce of silver, but it is something to consider. So I know it might be a little weird thinking about what you're going to be selling it for, or what you're going to be doing for down the road, even before you've started stacking. but this is going to take up a lot of space. It's going to take up a lot of time. There's going to be a lot of silver in your stack if you're going to be planning on stacking for a long time. You'll see that your footprint is growing and growing and growing. You can have a one monster box turns into two monster box, so you're going to be accumulating the stuff. And you just, from the start, I think it's a good idea to know what you want to do with it. So number 3 touches a little bit on something I said in the second point, but number 3, you should consider your storage and security. Now I'm lumping these two together, storage and security, because I was thinking maybe doing 4 points, but these two, they basically share a lot of the points, so I'm just lumping them in together for the third point here. But yeah, you can just see from here the different sizes. You got quarters, this is a Canadian quarter. You got the American quarter. You got some dimes. This is 90% stuff. Then you got your bullion coins here. And your bullion coins have different shapes and sizes too, even just in the 1 ounce size. The 1 ounce size isn't uniform, you know what I mean? You'll see that something that's 38 millimeters, 39, 40, 41. And that's, as I said, that's just in the 1 ounce size. Then you have 2 ounce coins, 5 ounce, 10 ounce. So there's a bunch of different sized coins, and obviously you're going to be wanting to protect them. So one thing that you can do for that is getting a capsule for it. I'm going to show you. I love showing this coin whenever I can. Capsules are a good way to keep your coins, especially the ones that you want to keep in pristine condition. A capsule is a good choice to store some of your coins. But for me, I really like stacking tubes, and I have a couple different size tubes. This one here I'm using for the random rounds. That's what I pulled out here. I have a random round tube that has 14 looking to fill up. These ones hold 20. So yeah, this is just a generic tube. You can get ones that are from the mint. There's US mint tubes, Royal Canadian mint tubes, but you can also just look at some of the generic stuff. And for a lot of the times, the generic stuff is cheaper. I just pick it up off Silver Gold Bull whenever I see them there. A couple of cents, $1. This one's a quarter one, you know what I mean? You see some of the quarters there, that's what I put in. But I really like storing a lot of my silver in tubes. So yeah, to make sure all this stuff isn't just loose and flying around, especially when you get into some of the junk silver and the 1 ounce pieces, you're going to be getting a lot of it. So it makes sense that you're going to want to have them organized, and I find that the tubes are the most organized. And if you have some really, really nice pieces, capsules make sense to protect that. And to put all that away, I have just a Britannia monster box. I ordered a random empty monster box from Silver Gold Bull, and they sent me the Britannia one. I would have been happy with whatever they sent me, but Britannia is the one that they had sent me. So it fits perfectly into my safe and everything like that. And it's getting close to needing to get a second one, where I'm just going to be basically having one for tubes to finish that off, and then the rest will be whatever's left over, capsuled stuff, bars, stuff like that. So I'm getting pretty close to needing a second monster box. So that's how I like to store stuff. And again, you're going to need to think about security as well, because with this stuff, you're not just going to want to leave it lying around, and you're going to want a nice secure place, and you're going to want to pick up don't cheap out on the safe. That's another thing. You want to make sure you get a nice safe, something that ideally you could bolt to the ground, but just put it out of the way, and that's where you can secure it. If you want to have a couple of decoy safes around, that makes sense. Or if you want to have multiple safes, multiple smaller safes around your house, so you don't have all in one basket, that makes sense too. But do not cheap out on the safes that you're getting. So for your stack and your family, there are other ways to protect as well, but I just mean for the silver itself, you're going to want to make sure to have a nice safe. And there are some things where someone could come into your house and persuade you to open the safe. So there are some other things that you can have in your house and on your person to make sure you can defend against that as well. So this is very valuable stuff. Of course, I'm anonymous. I don't show my face. I don't want people knowing exactly who I am for security reasons. I don't want saying, oh, hey, that's Jim. I know Jim. It's good to know that he has all this silver and gold too. So, you don't want to be broadcasting it and stuff like that. So this is obvious obviously, real money. Yeah, for all those reasons, I think, number 3 being storage and security is definitely something that you need to think about before picking up your stack. Because like I said, especially silver takes up a lot of space. So yeah, you'll be happy you thought about, spacing and storage and all that stuff when your stack gets up, a couple hundred, 500, up near that 1,000 mark. You're going to see that, the silver you accumulate gets not out of control, but picking up silver, you'll see quickly that it accumulates very fast, and you'll be happy that you planned ahead. But anyways, that's just a video I wanted to make today. I do know that a lot of people would know most of this stuff, but I have seen in my previous videos and a lot of my comments that there are a lot of new people getting into stacking, so this might be geared a little bit more towards them, starting a stack. I know a lot of the majority of people watching this have their stack started, but this was just a topic that I felt like making a video on. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. If you disagree with anything, if or if you have a different take on something, let me know. I always like talking with you guys in the comments. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you come back for the next one. Thank you.